the hospital site. We are at the hospital site. At this stage, the data at the hospital can be analyzed. The hospital can see its own data. That was the first time actually it happens, because the people are collecting data in EHR, but there is no way you can analyze such data. And here we installed some Odyssey tools like Atlas or Arachne, or even statistical tools like R. So at the hospital level, they can already analyze data. What is the benefit of this infrastructure? We can federate those data. That means we install a central server which can query on those data without moving the data. So the data stays at the hospital level, but at the central site, we can query those data and we can perform all the analysis we wanted. So this is really the key architecture. And this is maybe too technical, but it's just to show that at the hospital site, we put what we call Odyssey in a box. So just a Docker, which has all installations needed. So we don't need to make one by one when we move from one hospital to the other one. You take this Docker and you deploy it at your hospital. It has everything. You see, it has the statistical package, and you can then analyze data. At the central server, this is the most tricky, because we needed to link those data. If someone has a COVID test and has a vaccination and has been in one of the hospital consulting for COVID, we should be linking those data of one person. This is what you see here. You see the hospital one here on top is already linked to COVID survey and also linked to national COVID dataset and also to vaccination. And this is really the key. So you can really derive the analysis from there. I will come back to that, but let's see first when we deploy the Odyssey instance at the hospital. This is just a screenshot we took when you see we have already Atlas, which is the visualization running, and we have the database. All those applications are coming from the container, which was the Docker I showed. And the most interesting maybe is to see what comes out from those infrastructure. You see, this is Rwanda and the center of Africa, and you see the yellow dots are hospitals which are already connected. So we can already have the data of those hospitals. And this is just one screenshot. You see on the top, you will see what the hospital is seeing. This is just a dashboard showing the age of people which are in this all hospital. And here below, you see already when you have run ETL to show how many, you see we have measurements, we have 4 million measurements, we have visit occurrence is 1. It's even 1.5. We have 1.2 million observations. So at the end of ETL, you can see already how many data points you have had. And I will show you in the next slide that so far we have 15 sites, more than 3.6 million unique individual records coming from either OpenMRS, OpenClinic, and one hospital which is using a customized EMR. This was not possible without OMOP. You can't, because the structure of OpenMRS. Yeah, please.
Yes, so you have just 1 more minute to wrap up, and then the next person comes up.
Thank you, thank you. I'm just closing. So just to show you those 3 million, if you go inside in the data points inside, there are more than 1, I think, the trillion. So This is just some screenshot to show what the hospital sees, and we can even track the network data quality. You list the hospitals, and you can see that this is a nice tool coming from Odyssey. Now that's my last slide. The ultimate goal of RISE-DAR was to monitor the RT of COVID-19. And we did that. This is just a screenshot of how we followed it, even to forecast. But there is a next phase. And this is the most interesting. We can use the same infrastructure to improve public health preparedness and response by using surveillance tools. We can also generate health reports, PEPFAR reports, or other reports required by Ministry of Health. We can also use it just for medical research. This is really the journey we had, and thank you for your attention. Of course, I know I was so rushy, and probably I skipped some important things, but feel free to ask questions and to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. And I think that was in collaboration with Cynthia. So our next presenter will be Alice Liu, who will be talking to us from the International Digital Health and IA Research Collaborative. Alice, are you here? Please proceed.
Let's see if I can share my screen. Sorry, let's see if I go into full screen mode, if I can get this through.
Yes, I can see that. You put it on the presentation mode.
Are you seeing the full presentation mode now?
Not yet. It's still pulling up, maybe.
Okay, wait, actually, let me stop sharing, and then it's always the sequence of things it's a little tricky. Let's do this. Okay.
Get it. That's fine.
Oh, great. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for this opportunity, and I will try to be brief. So IDARE is our name. That's how we pronounce the International Digital Health and AI Research Collaborative. And our vision is to become the neutral, trusted platform for enabling R&D of digital health and AI for health, and for addressing data and AI challenges that no single country or institution can solve on its own, focusing on the global South and small states. And without going into all the details on the slide, I think might help to just give you a little background on how we started, and why we're excited to work with and be partners with all of you. So we were actually launched in 2019. It was as a follow-up to the UN Secretary General's high-level panel on digital cooperation, and they developed a roadmap document. One of the recommendations was that there needed to be this neutral place, especially with seeing the advent of AI, but a neutral place to foster collaboration. So that we could develop the guidelines and guardrails for AI, and of course AI is very dependent on data, and you're not going to get the data without the digital solutions. So IDARE was born, and our founding CEO, Ambassador Amandeep Gill, he is actually now the UN Tech Envoy. Our new CEO, Ricardo Leite, will be starting actually in just a few weeks on May 22nd. He's currently a member of Parliament in Portugal. He's a medical doctor and also a professor, and has worked in digital health as well, and has founded a global network of parliamentarians focusing on global health. So we hope to provide that neutral platform with with these various stakeholders, especially with the sort of diplomatic and political connections. Let's go to the next slide. So we began with establishing 7 hubs, as we call them, collaborating research centers. based in Geneva, Singapore, New Delhi, Santiago, Chile, Tunis, Nairobi, and Johannesburg. And I believe actually one of our Nairobi colleagues may be on the, I'm not sure if he's in this breakout room, but I know I saw him in the earlier meeting from APHRC. And we're hoping to build this out over the next, couple of years, build out a larger network of research nodes. So our founding funders started out with the Fondation Botnar, and then Wellcome Trust and IDRC of Canada. And we have various partners. Our hubs are actually listed here at the top. I think that's 7, and we have other partners that we work with. So I'm just going to show you now some flagship projects. And if you had a chance to go look us up on the DSI Africa site, then you may have seen this already. So one thing we are working on here is the concept of a trusted research infrastructure, and seeing that there's actually quite a lot of work out there already on various open science clouds and data commons and so forth. We're actually focusing on the edge right now, or you could call it the first mile or the last mile, but to address the issue where institutions, researchers want to work in AI, but don't have the high performance computing resources, don't have all the tools, and of course are learning. Oops, did the screen sharing just stop? Are you still sharing? Are you still seeing my screen or not seeing it?
No, it just went off.
Someone just disabled it, looks like. The host
Not
disabled.
so. No, this is not right.
Yeah, I just got that message.
Let
just,
me
while you work on it, I'll just continue speaking.
Okay, yes.
Is it working now?
Let me just quickly do that, but you can proceed to talk while I just get this fixed.
Okay. So we're trying to help researchers bridge that gap. That this is sort of a different, you could say another different or companion approach to capacity development is giving them the actual resources to practice and tinker, as well as actually do use their high performance computing resources. So we are just starting this. Just have built our first physical box. And looking to actually sign with a partner to actually build more of these, to scale up. APHRC, the African Population Health Research Center, is our first partner on this. They're very excited to work with us. And so right now we're working with them to look at what kind of models and algorithms we want to work with, and work with the data that they have, and the idea is that we'll eventually have a federated learning model, a network of these nodes around the world, so that we can respect the data sovereignty rules. Right, the box lives in your research center, and with the federated model, though, the data can we can still collaborate, because with the federated model, let's say you've got an algorithm or a model that can be shared amongst the nodes, train it on your local data, and then share the model with everybody else, versus putting all the data in a single place. And I'm actually, I remember when I first started with IDARE a couple of years ago and started looking at research infrastructures, I was really excited about NIH's platform, because NIH has the has had long running programs now with a lot of data repositories. So definitely would love to see how you've kind of solved some of those problems we're trying to solve. So the next slide, which you cannot see, I guess. Is it solved yet?
I think we're having a challenge from this side.
Okay.
Okay, it comes.
Yeah, it's back.
It's back.
Sure.
Great. All right. So I'm just going to go quickly, because we might have lost a little time. This flagship project, this is one that I'm personally leading. This is our concept for a capacity development network for AI and digital health. So in our vision, and we're still early days in this vision, is developing a competency framework for digital health and AI. And actually, we're actively doing this with WHO right now. We have a 160 plus members of a working group from all over the world working on this. The idea is that eventually, as we're also developing a landscape document, just collecting various learning opportunities, not simply courses, but learning opportunities, whether it's a workshop, a boot camp, a case study. We want to present a library, a Netflix style, if you're familiar with Netflix style library, where you can search, get recommendations. And so anyways, I won't go into all the details there. That accreditation and create a peer-to-peer alumni network and knowledge exchange with coaching and mentoring. So we are right now first targeting the in-service workforce.
Hope you will be wrapping up soon.
Okay, the professional executive education level. You can see we've got more down the road, and this is just an illustration of a COMSI framework. Just a very, very high level illustration, but it's actually much more detailed. We're also working on a citizen science project, looking at how to engage citizens in research. And so we actually have a multi-country study or needs assessment on this right now to gauge their interest and if there are access or other issues that would are there enabling environment issues to be able to engage citizens in research. And our this is also another project I'm involved with is through our IDRC funder, Responsible and Gender Responsive AI, developing resources around to provide support to researchers and startups and innovators to help them implement responsible and gender responsive AI throughout their development process. And that's our presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, Alice. So we will have our last presenter to speak to us from the EU Africa PEMID. Erica Sella, are you with us?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present the project. I will try to share my screen. I have a short presentation. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, put it on the presentation mode.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Wisdom. My name is Erica Sella. I work in a Spanish company called Innovatec, but I am here on behalf of the EU Africa PERMED project, which is a project funded by the European Commission, the Horizon 2020 project, 2020 program. And the main objective of our project is to facilitate the collaboration between Africa and Europe in personalized medicine, and incorporating African organization in the International Consortium for Personalized Medicine. So we are really devoted to personalized medicine, which I think has a lot of connections with data science and artificial intelligence and all that is, I think, the objective of this meeting. So that's why I think it's interesting for us to let you know what we are doing. The project started in February 2021 and will run for 4 years. So we are now actually right in the middle of the project. As I mentioned, our project has been funded by the European Commission. Personalized medicine is a new way of doing medicine, and it's sometimes called as the future of medicine, but in real fact, it is something that is already here. And it refers to a medical model that uses the characterization of individuals' phenotypes and genotypes using all types of available data, mainly genomics and other types of omics, but also medical imaging, lifestyle data. So the idea is to really get hold of all the data available that in the end can facilitate a better therapeutic strategy for the right person at the right time to determine the predisposition to disease and also to deliver timely and target prevention. So for personalized medicine, a good access and management of data is essential. The consortium, as you can see here, is made of 13 partners. We have 7 partners from Africa and 6 from Europe. From Africa, we have partners in South Africa, in Kenya. I will not go into the names because it takes quite a lot of time, but you can have a look at it in the website. We have partners in Senegal, in South Africa, in Kenya, in Tanzania, and in Egypt. And from Europe, we have partners in Italy, in Spain, and in France. And these are the main objectives. We have a first objective related to mapping, which is to understand the situation in Africa in terms of policy and scientific personalized medicine, and to identify major stakeholders. We have another objective, which is to facilitate collaboration between Africa and Europe, identifying those areas in which the collaboration is more productive and useful for both regions. Another objective is to link science to policy, which mainly is to try to integrate African organizations in the IC-PERMED consortium. We also have another objective related to capacity building and training, what we want to do is to organize webinars and summer schools to discuss and train in different aspects of related to personalized medicine. And another important objective is dissemination and communication. This is, in order to go quickly, I think I'm going to go directly with what we have done so far, so you can see more or less the type of activities we are doing. We have prepared an interesting report that is available in our project website, which is a scientific and policy mapping of personalized medicine in Africa. We also have a policy brief related to opportunities to advance personalized medicine in Africa, several other reports. We have organized several webinars that are open for anyone to access, and the information is always available in our website or in our Twitter and LinkedIn accounts. And we also organize stakeholder workshops, because what EU-Africa-PERMED wants to really achieve at the end of the project is not only integrating African organizations in this international consortium for personalized medicine. We already have an African member, which is the South African Medical Research Council, but the idea is to integrate other organizations as well. But we want to produce a document, an action plan, which will highlight several activities and actions that can be carried out in order to facilitate this collaboration between African countries and Europe in personalized medicine. And this collaboration can be at the level of policy, but also at the level of, for example, capacity building, collaboration between different infrastructures. So what we want to identify is what is already going on in Africa and Europe, and what are the opportunities to increase the collaboration. This is where you can find more information about the EU-Africa-PERMED project. We have a website. We have also the possibility to receive our newsletters. We have the LinkedIn and the Twitter account. We also have nice videos in our website in which you can learn a little bit more about what we are doing, because here I have to go quite fast and there is not too much time available. But I really invite all of you to have access to this website and to contact us if you would like to have more information about what we are doing. So Wisdom, I think we are a bit late, so I will finish here, and I'm open if anybody has any questions or wants to contact me directly by email. I'm very happy to respond. So thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Erica, and thanks to all our presenters. So at this moment, we would like to invite questions. Anyone who has clarifications, have some questions, can put up their hand, or you can also send a message to the chat room, and then our presenters will respond to that. So quickly, we have a question for Mark. Somebody wants to know whether you had any had developed any use case questions and study packages through the Atlas? And what has been your experience? If Mark can pick that question.
Yeah, thank you. This is really an interesting question. Actually, the Atlas is a native visualization of Odysseus, one of the two. And we are using as it is. We are not really making the packages inside, but of course, we go inside, we build the cohorts, we make predictions, but we have not changed made any packaging there. We are focusing more on customized R script, which can generate repos, which are the repos which are needed by the Ministry of Health in Rwanda.
Thanks very much. Do not see any hand raised or questions. So, but at least most of the participants are looking for your information, your contact. So if you haven't done so, I'll just take the opportunity and put your contact in the chat.
Yeah,
and I still invite all of you, the participants, if you still have questions, we have some time to take some questions.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
طبعا وسط 63 شخص موجودين هم معانا. لو عايز ترفع ايدك تسأل سؤال تسجل شير سكرين، لكن عايزين نجيب السكرين الأصلية.
Please, at this moment, we're just taking questions.
ميوت دلوقتي هيسكر.
We just taking questions. So
عشان احنا صوتنا مش
okay, so I think we have a question for Alice. For Alice, how are you?
Hi, Kingsley.
registering?
There's a registration per se.
Yes.
Just contact me. I will link you up with our chief scientist who's leading this work, and you know, we can go from there. My email I already put up above in the chat, but I can repeat that.
Okay, thanks very much. Dr. Maha, I thought you had a question. What is the sustainability plan for the RI provided at the nodes? Agnes is asking this. I'm not too sure who this is directed to. For Alice.
Sorry, Alice. Sorry.
Yes, thanks.
I'm sorry, what is the question?
So you mentioned that you're planning to build, sorry, I'm calling from APHRC. So thank you for the presentation. I was just wondering about the sustainability of the nodes that are planted in the different parts of the country. Like what do you see these moving forward in the event that IDEA is no more, in terms of hosting them and continuation of using them in the different countries?
Okay. Yes, well, I think there's that's still being developed, but I would think there's probably a combination of different models for that. I mean, I think if you're talking about both financial and technical sustainability. So you know, in terms of financial, just I mean, overall, IDEA is looking at you know, where we're really looking for is government investment. You know, I don't know if you've been following some of the ChatGPT discussion, but OpenAI actually was trying to seek government investment when they were a nonprofit. And, you know, this kind of work is something that we feel is so foundational for the future that, you know, governments are, you know, need to have some skin in the game, if you will. So, so we want to create a larger fund that kind of commingles the government investments that can be shared across the LMICs and small states. And then in terms of individual institutions, in terms of the sustainability plan, I think that will vary, I think, by institution, right? The institution may want to raise its own funds. You know, it may have other grants and the other, you know, other source of funding to support the system. And then, of course, you need the technical resources, and part of that involves training whoever you designate in your institution to provide, the IT support, if you will. And I mentioned, we're talking, and we have actually an RFQ out for some vendors to build the system. So I assume there's some sort of support plan. But to get more details on that, I can link you up with the person leading this project.
Thank you very much. I think there's a question for Mark. Maybe you can take that, and then we as to how Docker works, because somebody's using it, it fails. Yeah.
Yes. This is a good question, I think. But I will not go because it's more technical. There is a huge work to be done in the configuration behind. But I would invite my colleague who asked the question, is Dawit. I would invite you to join Odyssey African chapter meetings, where those questions of technical, how things work, what we can do, are discussed deeply. We have a huge community of people who are really seasoned inside. And thank you, Cynthia, you put already the contact of African Odyssey chapter in the chart here. Our next meeting is 15 May. We meet always at 5 p.m. East African time. So if you are there, you can ask more questions. There are people who are really technical, and they can help. Thank you.
All right, so we just have some few minutes to go back to the main room. So I would like to thank everyone, our presenters, very much for the time and the questions. So once the contacts are there, you can make efforts to get in touch with anyone you have interest with, and then you can have further discussions. Thank you all so very much, and I'll see you in the main platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I didn't understand that.
Thank you all.
I'm saying that
Thank
we
you.
get him back to the main room and then to continue from there.
Okay.